Hey Vikings, I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And today we are reviewing book 2 of our Viking romantasy, A Curse Carved in Bone.
Yes, so just with a cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets.
Let's do this.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hardcover podcast.
Hey.
We are on book 2 of this series. I am so excited to jump into it. But first, there is a spoiler warning for book 1, A Fate Inked in Blood. So if you haven't read it yet, just know this is book 2, girl. Go grab book 1 and read it and then come back because we are going to jump right into this.
Yes. Okay, so where we left off, Peyton and I certainly didn't remember. Hopefully this is useful for you if you're deciding whether or not to jump into book 2 or not. Basically, we had our cute enemies to lovers story, but at the end, Freya finds out that Bjorn is not loyal to Scotland like she thought, but instead is loyal to Harald. I don't know if I'm saying any of these names right.
It's
I
right,
really tried to
Harald.
listen to the audiobook ahead of time. I've done my best. I've tried.
That was good.
And is loyal to Nordland. But things get crazier because Bjorn was actually going to kill Freya the whole time. That was his plan, but then he fell in love with her and he's like, "Oh my god, no. Instead, let's run away and be like villagers together." But that plan gets thwarted when Harald comes and intercepts them, and in that moment, Freya is revealed to to have the blood of not just one god but two, and actually also has the blood of Hel, who is the daughter of Loki. She's got some pretty badass, horrific powers, ends up killing a lot of people. And then basically she enters a loose agreement with Harald because he's like, "That's kind of interesting. Your powers, that could be useful for me." So he agrees to take Freya across the sea from Scotland into Nordland because there is Bjorn's mommy, Saga, who gave the original prophecy that was like, "Hey, you're going to be the shield maiden. You're going to be this great thing. You also are going to kill a bunch of people." And that is where we pick up on the boat, landing upon the shores of Nordland.
Yes, so I definitely was confused in the beginning of this book because I was like, I remember the betrayal bit,
Yeah.
but as far as because we're talking in Norse here, there's a lot of things that I just your eye just scoots on by because it's like a word you're not used to seeing a lot, and then it comes up and it's important, and you're like, oh wait, was I supposed to be paying attention to that or that character or that thing? But yeah, this book we definitely get a deeper look into Freya and who she actually is. And she doesn't even know who she actually is, which is just, it's really fun kind of jumping into a character's head and discovering that as she does. Also, this book is dual POV. Was that the last book?
No.
The last book was not dual POV. So of course you think, oh god, they're gonna be separated in this book.
Yeah, I do. Jumping into it, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't even feel like book 1 anymore." I feel like the
Doesn't.
tone got shifted to a much more angrier version because in the beginning of book 1, Freya is literally just a fishmonger's wife. She's still got the same spunk and soul that she has all the way
Right.
through, but now she's in a position of power. She's in a position of just being betrayed and lied to. She's in a position of sailing the sea across to foreign lands where everyone there hates her and she's been raised to hate everyone there. It's a much more complex situation. But the plotting of this book, I will say, the first third of this book is really just Freya resituating herself. And I wasn't obsessed.
Oh
And I
my
know you
gosh.
struggled a little too, because
If book 1 was Fourth Wing, the second book is literally Iron Flame in the way that Freya, the first half of this book, is so mad at Bjorn. And it's to the point where in Iron Flame, if anyone has read it, I'm sure you all have, it's annoying how whiny Violet is. And so
yeah,
Freya kind of was like, girl, you're supposed to be cooler, okay?
and she was better. She was
Yeah.
definitely better than Violet was because she at least came to the realization in the books that is something that I I appreciate it even though I do understand that it's annoying, where she was like, "He lied to me, but he had good reasons for lying, but I still am angry." And I feel like that is a very relatable emotion of being like, "Yeah, I get your intentions. I get the reason that it happened. I but it doesn't like I still have all these emotions and I don't know what to do with them."
Also, it gives us that whole enemies to lovers thing again. Like we
Sure.
kind of got the excitement in the first book, them getting to know each other, and now
Mhm.
we know them together. We know how they feel about each other, but now they're separated
Yeah,
in
but
that
he was
way.
almost too respectable for that
Yeah,
tension to come back.
I know. I was
Like,
like, I need more. I just wanted more out of the love story in that
yeah.
way because she was just passively around him and he was just like, you know, don't forgive me. Like, I'm sorry, like, whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh.
It
Like,
it it was one of those things where it's like, no, you're acting as a man should in this scenario. You are respecting her, you're respecting her boundaries. That is king behavior. But in terms of like spice and passion, it was just
I'm
like,
gonna need more.
oh, I'm used to the characters being like, let's have the hate sex. And
Yeah.
he's like, I will not have sex with you until you love me fully. And it's like, oh,
I
oh, I don't know what to
respect
do with
you.
this.
Like, it's like, this is and it's a Viking fantasy
Yeah.
story. It's like, come on, Bjorn. But all in all, I can say, like, other than Freya being pissed off at Bjorn and
Mhm.
getting used to honestly these new characters with like Harald and stuff, until she meets Saga, I don't have a memory of the book. Like I was it took me so long to read this book. Aubrey has read 10 books in the time it has taken me to read just this one book. And so until we meet Saga at like a little before halfway through the book, I was out.
Yeah.
So
I was instantly intrigued in the first few chapters just because of the tone shift, because of the potential, and then this does have a very heavy middle. Like once we got to the ending stuff, which obviously we will not talk about until after
right
my
now.
star ratings,
Yep.
that's when I felt like the story really did pick back up. I will say though, even despite the I don't know, the transition period of the middle, I do think that this was still levels better than a Fate Inked in Blood, and I didn't mind a Fate Inked in Blood.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Finishing this book, like I can say the last half, especially the last quarter, is
Mhm.
so good. It is like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I want it to become a movie so good.
Well, and it's to the point that I feel like a lot of people read A Fate Inked in Blood, and we're culprits of this. We told everyone, we were like, "Hey guys, like the romance, like it was kind of standard romantasy. It was fine. It was meh." But I would say if you read the first book, read the book too. If you haven't read the first book, like I don't know, you decide whether or not it's worth reading through that first book. But if you've read the first book, just pick up A Curse Carved in Bone. I promise you it is significantly better.
Yeah. No, I think she did the right stepping stones as to like
Yeah.
how the story unfolds. There is just that section that literally took me a month to read. Um, but with that being said, what did you rate this?
Okay, I gave this 4 stars. I really like it's one of those books that I really liked what she did, and the spoilery bits are my favorite
Oh,
parts
yes,
of the
definitely.
story, but I think taking what felt standard in the first book and kind of turned everything that turned me off about A Fate Inked in Blood was flipped on its head and I loved in A Curse Carved in Bone. Plus, we still got that like more unique magic system of Norse mythology, and I like Daniel Jensen's prose. It's not like a beautiful stained glass window, but it's very clean and like I like it. I like it. It's strong prose without being overly flowery.
Yeah, or cringe. Like she
Yeah.
really falls in that middle.
Oh, and listening to it, guys, the I keep saying the Viking accents. I understand that there's an actual like
Like a
Swedish because
Scandinavian.
Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Yes, I get the S's mixed all the time. That was that took me for a second. But then once I was
Oh
listening to
yeah.
it, I was just like, "Oh, now I am a Viking." I got to really get into it, listening to it in a way that I didn't reading it, and I think that's what helped me in the middle, because when they're just, like, bantering and arguing back and forth, like, it was, like, a little repetitive, but halfway through, I started listening to it and hearing it in the Viking voices. I was like, "Oh my goodness, we're
Yeah.
Vikings."
No, it took me a second too, but it actually helped with also, like, the pronunciation of things and,
Yes.
like, get so then when I did pick up the book to actually read, I was like, "Oh, that's what that is. Okay." I would give this book so
Okay.
this is actually I was surprised by it because usually if a book takes me this long to read, we're coming in at a strong 2, 3.
That's what I was
But
expecting.
I would know, I would really give this 3.5, 4 stars. I really liked this book.
Ooh.
I liked the trajectory of the story. Like I said, like, I couldn't really debrief the first bit of this book because it's lost in the backlog of my brain over the month reading
Yeah.
it. But guys, like, it's like when someone recommends a book and it's like, just read it for the end. Like, the ending is so cool, and she really put a bow on everything. Like, felt so good at the end. Like, I was reading this book last night scared because it's a little creepy at the end, and I was like, "This is so good." Like, it took me an hour to read the last quarter of the book because I was just, like, zooming through it. So it deserves its flowers. So I think I'll put it in for Goodreads at 3, but it's 3.5.
Yeah.
But you could round it up to 4. I'm like somewhere in between there. But I really liked it. I'm definitely not up towards a 5, but
Yeah.
like a very low 4.
That's how I feel, but I did mark it as a 4 on Goodreads.
So not as bad as I thought
No.
or Aubrey thought. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, and so I mean, some of that's also just timing of, like, when you picked up the book. I mean, coming
Absolutely.
off a honeymoon to
Yeah,
go
nothing felt
into,
good.
like, the Viking bantering of the first bit, like, genuinely, this is a book that you have to just get 100 pages in,
Yeah,
and if you just put the book down before you, like, pass that finish line, it's going
you're
to be a
done.
hard one to pick up. But I really romanticized the beginning, and I think that helped me.
Alrighty, we're gonna jump into spoilers here. So
Bye if you haven't
bye.
finished the book, but I'm very excited to talk about this.
Yeah, we can jump right into the saga, meeting with Saga, because we already kind of talked about the romance of this book. Well, actually, I'll touch in on the romance because I don't know if we're really going to get back to it.
Mhm.
Is I genuinely do like Freya and Bjorn's romance.
Yeah.
Like, how I feel about them together is I really like them together. Um, I like in this book a lot, which made me think how I think in life
Mhm.
is there's a lot of theming. I feel like I'm about to like drop a lit degree here, but there's a lot of theming about revenge and like vengeance and like getting back at someone. And there's a lot of times in this book where Freya or Bjorn will do anything to have one another. But
Mhm.
there's a certain part in this book where someone basically said back to her, like, well, what are you like by you rescuing Bjorn and not caring about anyone else's life? How are you better than I am?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, because like I was like, yeah, Freya, fuck them all, like kill them all, like I don't care, go get your mans. But then like I think it was Steinem or someone else
Yeah.
was like, well, how are you any better than I am? And I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a point.
I only took 3 notes while reading this book, and one was that I love that both characters are willing to risk each other's lives for the good of the world. Like, that's something that they come to at the end, because I feel like in so many of these romantasies, it's like we have tropified the "I'll burn down the world for you,"
Yeah, but like you
that
shouldn't.
yeah, that, like, we kinda have lost that is a villain behavior, and so having these characters, this is something that's also done in Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, of realizing, like, no, like, we love each other enough to be willing to sacrifice each other for the good of the world. Like, that was such a good thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because I just like, in the first book, it was passionate. Like, I
Yeah.
loved the sassiness of both of them. I loved the Viking setting. It was very romantic-y. But in the second book here, there weren't a lot of sex scenes. Like, it's
Mm-mm.
not very graphic in that way. And it felt like like almost like an adult fantasy novel. And I thought that was really cool. And also having the theming of like because we do romanticize the whole like I'll burn down everything for you. It's like,
Uh-huh.
well, like actually maybe like you're the problem
Maybe
because
that's
you're
not
like
ideal.
I'm the problem, maybe you're the problem. So I was just like, oh, because vengeance is like the whole like revenge thing in this book. That's like why every character has its
Mhm.
downfall because they get tricked and because they want that revenge on that person that hurt them or because they're being played, which we're going to get to in a minute. But I just think I was like, wow, you know what, that is so freaking cool that Daniel Jensen like plotted that out to be like, actually let's call out our main characters.
Yeah, like let's break the cycle here. And that's so interesting because we just read a study in Drowning, which also did that. Kind of these like novels are almost like a response to what has come after ACOTAR and now Fourth Wing, which I love those stories. Like there's certain things that those stories do, but they have created this mass body of copycat authors
Yeah.
who are then taking that and are distilling it down to even more tropey, even more tropey, even more tropey, to the point where, like, I just saw videos of people talking about this. Marketing a book as enemies to lovers is a spoiler
Yeah.
and is something that used to never be done. No one would ever put this is an enemies to lovers because that's a huge spoiler
It
because you
is.
used to genuinely believe people to be enemies and now you can't. And now you're like, anytime you see someone with enemies, it's like, I hated him, but he was hot and tall and
You're like, oh, here we
brooding.
go.
And
Yeah.
yes. And so I just, yeah. And that's what we're going to talk more about the twist. That flipping and response to romantasy is just really satisfying because it's different. It's like, no, we had fun. We had our kiki haha time, but then
Yeah.
some of y'all took it too far. And now we need to like lock back in.
Bring it in. So with this book also, which is why like the star rating like boosted for me, and that's why I say second half, second half, second half.
Mm-hmm.
So after Freya goes and meets with Saga, and they have almost like this like daughter-in-law, mother-in-law moment that like is just so sweet and endearing. It felt so good on my soul. I was like, this is probably gonna be like my favorite part of this book. They're
Mm-hmm.
giggling, laughing, having some hard conversations. And we're also like learning about and meeting Bjorn's mom, which obviously we know throughout these books is like the most important person to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like he's not involved is like fun because they're like talking behind his back and like all of
Yeah.
that.
It's
But
very like you go home to the boyfriend and she's showing pictures of him as a kid.
yeah, and like, oh my God, your mom's like actually cool and not the worst ever,
Yeah.
So, you know, gaining my like Saga gained my trust of like, wow, like they are really good on this side. I can't believe, and also like the way Daniel L. Jensen made me fall in love and then absolutely like defile and like the situation of
Yeah.
that it actually wasn't Saga, it was Harald the whole time.
And they were
Like,
naked.
yeah. And just the fact that like as the reader, I almost felt I'm losing the word in my head, but I almost felt kind of like taken advantage of. Like I was like,
Yeah.
wait, ew, like it made me feel so gross. And
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like I'm sure there's tons of we've all experienced it at some point in our life. We do something and we find out later there's ulterior motives or something, and you're like, oh, now I'm just grossed out. Like now I am completely grossed
Mhm.
out. This is disgusting. But I'm usually able to kind of catch on to that type of stuff.
Yeah, you can spot it. You can guess it.
Was not. And sometimes authors throw in this whole like, well, he was the son of Loki and no one knew. And it's like, oh, of course you did that. But no, it actually felt genuinely like, no,
It
this is, we see sprinkles of this even in the first book that, yeah, this
Mhm.
is a thing. So,
Yeah, and like
so cool.
it's so insane that Harald is the villain because if you read book one, for a majority of book one, you'd be like, yeah, no, duh. Like we've been saying that, but we're
Yeah.
so used and conditioned to the romantasy format where they're enemies in the first book, but that's because the girl has been lied to by her society and the guy is actually on the side of justice, and then they team up and they go back and she has to like reckon with destroying her home world. And this whole book, like even Bjorn's like, I don't understand, something feels off. But we're like, but this is supposed to be like Nordland and Herald are supposed to be our good guys now. Like this is the fantasy standard that we have set,
Yeah.
romantasy standard. And literally the whole time I was like, I cannot tell if I should like this guy or not. But like in
Oh,
such the
yeah.
most like
Even Freya
meaningful
was like,
way.
I don't know about him. Like, but then
Yeah.
of course all of the unfated were like really cool with him and like
Mhm.
liked him a lot. And yeah, it's almost like in fantasy books, of course, the main girl gets kidnapped by the love interest and then gets taken away and then is exposed to like, wow, this is actually how it is. We need to go kill those guys.
Yeah.
Never have I ever read a story that where she started was better than where she ended up.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever.
Yeah.
And it's like
Such
Snorri was a bad guy. He's not a good guy, but he's not a villain.
Yeah, it was like, "Oh, crap, your dad was just like an asshole of his time, but he wasn't the
He was just a
systematic
Viking.
oppressor, manipulator child of Loki." Oh, and also, the fact that Loki was just bad, the fact that we didn't like I mean, listen, guys, Marvel did its thing, but that
Yeah.
has taken every story to be like I thought when she was the child of hell, it was gonna be like a girl bass, we're reclaiming this narrative. But at the end of the day, it was like, no, Hell was just bad. She was just
Yeah.
bad. Loki was just bad. This guy was just a manipulator, and he's a manipulator in the way that men are in the real world. Like, it
Yeah.
was so form hitting because it's shocking, because it subverts the genre, and because it just was like, fuck, like I know this man. This is how men operate in the real world. This is how they trick you and get you. Every single one of the invaded, their bad circumstances. He was the deliverer of the bad circumstances and the saviors. Purposely set them up to be the savior.
So then he would have them on his side. He manipulated it
Yeah.
and then turned it for himself.
Like even when we knew he was the child of Loki, I was not expecting it to go that far, but he just kept getting worse and worse and worse in the layers. I mean, he literally had sex with the one girl pretending to be her lover, like
Girlfriend.
full yeah, sexual assault rape.
Mm-hmm.
And it was oh my god, like Daniel Jensen, like that's in
It's so good. It's so disturbing, but also
yeah.
I think it was obviously the shock value is out of this world, but as much as like I don't like reading that stuff because it's really sad to read and like genuinely like you can kind of see how that happens in the real world. What a crazy thing to bring into our romantasy Viking novel. Like
Yes.
how freaking cool. So yeah, the whole child like I know Marvel's ruined Loki for me because they're like, well, what's Loki gonna say to this? And he's like, they're like, well, Loki doesn't show up when he's disappointed in his children or whatever. It's like, great. Like, and I thought Hell was gonna be this like kind of reclaiming sort of
Mhm.
thing, but no, she was just like, actually, like, I'm gonna kill you because you
Actually just
belong
sucks.
here now. Like, you stole my dead people. Um, so yeah, that was a big twist. I was surprised. I don't foresee anyone going into this book picking out. Maybe they're like, well, something's up with Harald, but like we're
Yeah.
gonna figure it out. I was not expecting him, consuming bodies and like that's fucked
The
up.
layers of it was insane. And
Yeah.
then this is also where Danielle Jensen starts popping off on her fantasy game. I loved the like plunge into Norse mythology at the end here. Just the
Oh my
imagery
god.
of the scenes.
Yeah.
Like when they got trapped on that island, I was like, this is stupid. I'm tired of this. But then it
Freya making that
letting
commitment to
to plunge in, and then Freya getting to have her Aragorn moment.
I
I was
know.
stunned. I literally wrote down here. I was like, it was as soon as we got the reveal. So oh yeah, Bjorn kills his dad and then immediately finds out that he shouldn't have done that. His dad was actually not the manipulator. Harold was. He abandons them. I write it down. I go, because she had killed all those Scotland people. I said, will
Yeah.
she bring all the Scotland soldiers with her out from hell, Aragorn ghost army style? And then that's exactly what happened. And I was like, yes, I can spot your inspiration from a mile away. I love it.
Yeah, such the imagery of them like climbing out, and then the
Mhm.
fact that she gets to see her brother, and also like the character arc between her getting stuck on the island and
Yeah.
then her basically storming the gates of
Uh-huh.
the Scotland or whatever. Um that like she grows so much in those moments because she learns that it's not like she has there's self-sacrifice here, and like this is
Yeah.
how you get to Valhalla, like this is what makes a true soldier. And so I
Mhm.
think she saw like what hell was about, and she understood it, and she was able to see what her impact on the world did to people, all those souls trapped down there, including her brother, and
Yeah.
kind of being able to rectify the situation because she can. But her and her brother like teaming up for the last bit of the book, that like warmed my heart so much for them to like have that moment together,
Mhm.
and like truly have that moment together and be with each other. I love that. As someone with like older brothers, like there's those moments in life where you're like, dude, like we're like friends. Like this is great. Like we're like buddies. I thought that
Yeah.
was really cool because at that point, obviously, Bjorn and Freya were separated, and I think
Mhm.
that dual POV didn't bother me at all with that in this book, even when
No.
they were together. Obviously, the Freya chapters are my favorite, but I think it
Yeah,
was
I think his
necessary.
chapters helped. I don't think that they deterred
Yeah,
in the way that sometimes I get distracted, but he also wasn't a fucking asshole. Again, like my least favorite thing about a male's POV chapter is when he's like, I just like looking at her tits, looking at her like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, ew, ew, ew. He was not like that. He was a very
very
almost too
respectful.
respectful.
Yeah, you're like, okay, you can like maybe say a couple things,
But you
Bjorn.
guys
Like
can
it's
fuck a
okay. This
little
is
bit,
your inner
guys.
monologue, boy. Like pop off. Um, yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, just the imagery, like climbing
Yeah.
out. Like this
At
is
the
so
end and
typical.
him digging in the dirt and like everyone being like, dude, you're going crazy. And he's like, no, I know this. That was insane.
So, with the whole battle,
Mm-hmm.
obviously we knew. I thought it was hilarious. They're like, oh yeah, like we saw Freya and her undead people like coming this way, like you know whatever. Um, there's a couple things here.
Yes.
One, I love the whole sneaking around, overhearing, trying to get Steinem to come to the other side, whatever. I think that was all very necessary. I
Mm-hmm.
love the camping in the woods, kind of Freya coming to terms of like, this isn't about Bjorn, this is about the world you need to figure out, girl. Like,
Yeah.
fucking figure it out. I loved all that. Of course, there was going to be the if you come and sacrifice yourself, we'll let Bjorn go. Blah blah blah. I knew none of that was going to happen. I do think how the book I love everything about how the book ended. I love everything about the final battle.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she gets tricked again. She tries to save Bjorn and all of the commotion. And
Uh-huh.
when they jumped down into the sewers and something happened, he said something, or like he got pulled on and
Mm-hmm.
something weird happened, I was like, there's no way this would be Harald. Like there's no way. And then when they were on the bank and that happened, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I lost breath. I was like, I'm like, oh my god, that's scary. It was like it was
Yeah.
almost like a jump scare for me. I was like, oh
That's so fun. I guessed when they got to the sewers, I guessed that it was Harald right away, and that was his way to escape. But it made them going down the waterfall so much more satisfying because at the end of book one, when they are escaping through the waterfall, Freya and Bjorn, and he's like trying to take her away to be a farmer, and they're just gonna like he's revealed to be a bad guy. I was so annoyed. Like I think I was skimming that section. I was just like, oh, of course,
yeah.
Bjorn is actually teamed with Nordland, and they're actually
Like
the good
duh.
guys. And I was like, oh, this is again. I said this before, so stereotypical fantasy. So then for that scene to be paralleled and it's with our villain who's tricking her and pretending to be Bjorn after she knew that he did it time and time again, but it still works because it's still like your lover's face. I was just I was just like clapping. I was like, yes, this is
Yeah,
beautiful.
Harald, and also like we find out like Harald's not actually Harald. Harald is this like it. It's
Yeah.
almost like I never watched the new It, like the clown. I don't like horror movies,
Oh, me
but the
either.
original It I've seen, and it reminded me a lot of like this Harald character because like it shows up as Pennywise, but it's not Pennywise. Isn't the it is it, and so at the end of it, it turns into be this like big kind of like brain of like basically nothing. And so when they're hunting Harald and he turns into like a panther or something and then
Yeah.
turns into a snake and like
Mhm.
it's it is so meta the direction this book took. Like we were pretending to be Snorri or Saga and then all of a sudden now we're like crazy things. So
Yeah.
when he faced as Bjorn, I was like, wait, did he consume Bjorn? Like I was like, what does this mean? But they said to like fully inhabit and
Yeah.
become that person, he'd
Well,
had to consume them. But he can
and that he
mask
kinda
to be
just did
anyone.
it for fun.
Yeah.
He
Well,
just
because
did
I
it
think that
because he
fed
was fucked
the
up. Yeah.
that beast inside of him
Uh-huh.
versus him just having this Loki power.
Yeah. And then he became, like, the Norse mythology beast at the end in, like, the fighting scenes,
Yeah.
and, like, that was just it was so good. I love when we add that extra layer of, like, full fantasy plunge at the end of our books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that pissed me off, well, of course it had to happen the way it did, but the whole Steinem, her not singing her song, and if she would have just sung the song, her song, like, girl, like, it would have,
Wait,
she
where?
didn't, when Bjorn was in the cell, and
Mhm.
Steinem already saw Freya and her brother, and they were like trying to tell her, and then she screamed and whatever, they had to run away. Steinem goes down to the prison to talk to Bjorn, and
Mhm.
Bjorn's like, "Well, tell your story. I'm gonna tell my story, and then sing the song." And she never sang the song
Wait,
before because
but I thought she did in that moment then.
she did. But
Okay.
why hasn't she sung the song before? Like her own song to reveal the actual truth of the
Well,
situation. That shit pissed me off. I was like, girl, freaking, you're so caught up in wanting revenge for
yeah.
Snorri that, like, if you would just, like, I understand it was hard and she likes singing other people's songs, not hers, because she feels
Mhm.
like no one cares about her story or whatever. At the end of the day, it all came to be what it, happily ever after or whatever. But like, I was like, girl, if you
Yeah.
would have just done this, like,
She had the answer all along.
yeah, and that's where shit kind of pissed me off. I was like, girl, you're so dumb. Like you were so stupid. Um, yeah. And then at the end, when they get pulled down into hell,
Mhm.
um, I just the way that Harald was dying and everything, like that shit kind of pissed me off too, because he was dead and then he was alive and then he was dead and then Saga was
Yeah.
like, "See you guys, like I got this." That wasn't as satisfying for me because I was like, "So what now?" Like, huh?
Yeah. We
But
really
the
did like, when the
gods,
circle of gods showed up,
that was cool.
we were
That
excited a lot.
saved the ending for me.
I loved, Hilns.
Yeah.
Like, she basically came and she was like, "Yeah, I stepped in and I claimed Freya too, so that way she had a chance to fight against you." Like, I thought that was like a very like full circle moment where, again, usually in fantasy, like we have like the little guy, good guy, and then the bad guy, and then we tap into the bad guy and we kind of forget about the little guy and it's like whatever. But like it coming back and being like, no, Hilm's like the shield maiden. That is
Who she
our
really is.
idol. That is who she needs.
And
Yeah.
I love that she was like, "I can't help you get there. You have to want it for yourself."
Yeah.
But like I'm gonna help you. I loved also when she had the opportunity that Odin was like, "Come to Valhalla, like there's
Mhm.
a place for you," and like opening his palm to her and her being like, "No, there's people that still need a chance to get there. And if I
Yeah,
don't
so
let
Percy
them get
Jackson.
there." I was like, but I love the whole like circle up of these like Norse gods. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, yo, the whole gang is here. But like Harald's like, sister, please heal me. It's like, oh my god, please, like literally gag me.
Shut
So if
up.
Helen wouldn't have showed up and like kind of saved the day there, I would have been like,
Uh-huh.
this is, and she got out some crazy stupid way. I would have been like, what's the fucking point? Like, what's the point? Um, but yeah, that was like those two things, the Steinem and then not singing the song, like girl, you've had it the whole time. And then also his like, well, he's pathetic, but also just kind of the way he died down there. It was kind of like we could have like done a little bit more. So like she
Yeah.
really killed him. But Saga kind of reclaimed herself and was like, I'm sacrificing myself to make sure that he never is seen
Mhm.
again.
It is interesting after all of this conversation. I went back and I watched the ending of our Fading to Blood video because I wanted to see like what our theories were. And we were so sure that the green-eyed specter was going to be Loki. We were so sure that Loki was going to be like this mischievous like helper. Like we were so bought into the romantasy of it all. Like
Yeah.
I just imagine Danielle watching all of the discussions around her book after Fading to Blood coming in and just like cackling
Yeah,
and
she's
just
like,
being like,
watch this.
just you wait. Like, hold my fucking beer. It's gonna be different.
Yeah. 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 And I was reading a Reddit thread about
Mhm.
the Islander that she called upon
Yeah.
to like heal her and then get out unnecessarily. It was really unnecessary. We did not need that bit. I understand its purpose, but a lot
Yeah.
of people were confused. And I just feel like we could have done the whole it's a fantasy novel and she just got the strength because
Yeah, she
she was
probably could have
able to.
made it to the back without like at the end of the day, that guy was still stealing children. Like,
Yeah.
does he need a redemption?
Yeah, yeah, because she was like, even in her head, she's like, he doesn't really deserve, but like, whatever. It's like, okay, um,
I think
but
she
so
just wanted every single loose end to be tied
yeah,
in a way that perhaps wasn't needed.
but like, I don't even remember him.
I don't
So
think
like,
we needed any of the Icelander stuff.
yeah,
Like, I don't think we needed their presence in any way throughout the entire book. I understand that, like, obviously in a novel, there's going to be more than two countries,
I know, but
right?
like, it would just
But
confuse things.
yeah,
Yeah, so
whatever. I
yeah,
honestly, I was just like, okay.
and then the fantasy moment of she's dead, and then she goes, like, Bjorn. It's like, all right, you know what? Fine, it is a fantasy novel. But I love that their story basically is like, we're done fighting, and we're gonna go and live and be normal ass people.
But then
But then,
they were like, but we're still Vikings.
my trust is so like Daniel Jensen has broken my trust so much that when her sister-in-law or whatever like
Mhm.
comes to visit, I was like,
Yeah.
that's Loki. I was like, she's
It's
tricking her.
over.
I was like, she's tricking her. He is back, or Harald, I mean, like, he
Yeah.
is back. Like, this is not good. Because she was like, why don't you throw away this chainmail or whatever?
Mhm.
I think she could have ended this book. I think there's another one coming out. There's a third coming out.
Is there? I think this was it.
I hope it is because
I could
I
see
don't want
something
to
else
read
in
another.
the world, but I mean, the story's over.
I don't want to. I could see her taking this and Leaf. I could
Mhm.
see her doing a spin-off novel with him because his character grew a hell of a lot in this book. So much that the whole time Harald was in that castle, he was a little unsure about everything. So much that he wanted to go talk to his brother to see what was actually going on. He wasn't allowed to. And
Mhm.
he's the one that ended up saving him from the handcuffs. Oh, we never talked
Yeah.
about this. Freya wielding Bjorn's weapon. That was fucking awesome. Like, that was, I was like, yes. It's like when we all have our partners and they're good at their things. And when you
Mhm.
like outdo their thing, it's like kind of impressive. It's like, like I can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 'cause didn't it like burned her, but she was like it's worth
I
it.
can do it. Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
Slay. Well, and also that's another full circle moment because she uses his weapon to kill her husband. That's how the novel starts. That's chapter 1, baby. And so there was just so many like I think you said earlier that like she tied it up neatly.
She really did.
She
Yeah.
really did. Yes, and it is just a planned duology. So, I mean,
Good.
later down the
There's
line something else could be in this world,
yeah, I could see
but
a spin-off, especially with Leaf, but other than that, I'm good. This was
no,
awesome.
I think
Let's
it
leave
ended
it.
perfectly. Like, they got their, like, happily ever after, we live a quiet life after everything, but then I loved the inclusion of at the end, like, these are so clearly like, Freya and Bjorn are not farmers. They're not, like,
Yeah.
little village people, and so I think showing them, like, kind of itching and then, like, racing back in to still live that what Freya originally wanted because the whole book, like, she started off, she wanted to live that, like, clan lifestyle, and then she was like, "Oh, actually, this is, like, really bad and
Yeah.
dangerous, like, this sucks, this isn't as I romanticized it." But her to go back and get to experience it on a, like, a lower level, a more, like, Viking
On her
level,
terms.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really perfect because 'cause they're like, "Well, maybe we'll just go check in."
Maybe we'll just make sure little bro's doing okay.
And the sister's like,
Um,
"Yeah, I'll
yeah,
I'll
we'll
keep
watch
your
the
house for
animals.
as long
Yeah.
as you need."
Well, I think it was, like, one of the best wrap-ups of a story that I could have asked for. I'm
Yeah.
very satisfied, I feel good. I would recommend this, of course, if this is your thing. I think getting into the whole Viking space was really fun because we're usually just typical fantasy things.
Yeah.
So conventions, so I really enjoyed it. If you have read these, let us know what book you like better. Did you like book 1? Did you like book 2? Did you watch this video just to have book 2 spoiled for you? That's okay too. Are you surprised? Were you feel like you were taken advantage of as well while reading
Yeah,
this book?
how did you deal with the villain of it
Yeah.
all?
That was a lot for me. So anyways, please like, subscribe. You can hit the bell notification so you will be notified when we post Thursdays and sometimes Fridays. And we're on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you're in the car and you don't want to watch, you can listen.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us and happy reading.